All right. Good evening. Welcome. This is round two, second episode of Office Hours. Today is August 30th, 2023. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Welcome. Go ahead and shout yourselves out in the chat. Represent. Let me know where you're tuning in from. But we got another great episode for you again this evening. As you're aware, Office Hours is where I, the Success Concierge, talk about a various amount of topics that maybe people email in, ask questions, and even take the live question from the audience. But today we have an exciting show for you. We're going to talk about separating yourself from your competition, differentiation, and how you can use that to your advantage. So as usual, let's get started. So talk about separation, right? Because we actually live in a world that is very, very competitive, even more so now than it was in previous generations. We live in the internet age where the barriers of entry to do a lot of things is simply smaller, not like it used to be. Back in the day, if you wanted to go into a broadcast like this, you have to go to a studio, go to somewhere that could broadcast like that. Same with radio, but now you're here, and now we live in a global world. Now that has its benefits, but also it has its challenges because now with us living in a global world, there's global competition, right? People can get what you get, they can know what you know. They have information at their fingertips. So, how do you step out in front of others? How do you differentiate yourself? You have to do something what we call create separation. Now, this is very evident when it comes to the sports world, right? This is how people separate themselves in different areas, right? So in football, you want to create separation so you can get open lanes, get open passes, make catches. All right. And in basketball, you want to create separation between you and the defender so you can get better shooting and scoring and passing opportunities. Now, creating separation doesn't necessarily guarantee you outcomes, but it gives you more and more opportunities once you separate yourself, puts you in better position to achieve those outcomes. Now, one thing with outcomes is practice. Like the more you practice shooting, the more you practice having conversation, the more you practice having your sales, those type of things, that's going to increase your closure ratio, increase your performance ratio, but put you in better position to achieve your desired outcome. So that's what it's all about. So today, that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk about creating separation and seizing the moment, seizing the opportunity, right? So if you only have one opportunity, you have one shot. Where you have five, that increases your chances. So even if you're only at a 20% closing ratio or 40%, 2 out of 5, that puts you in position. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I know we got some questions from the individuals who have emailed in. Also, too, feel free to put your questions into the chat because I'm here to answer them, support them, and make sure we put ourselves in position to win. As I said, I am the Success Concierge. Let's get started. So let's go ahead and get the first question up on the screen. End of the month, so we always want to talk about finishing strong. So let's look at the first question here. So this question comes from someone, and it says, I'm breaking into a new profession, but I'm getting pushback because they say I'm overqualified. And how do I overcome this? All right. So a lot of times people who have lots of experience in one field, they may see the dynamics of their field changing, closing, contracting, or they just may want to do something else. So they're going to want to go into another field where they may have limited experience in that. Now, when it comes to that, first and foremost, I would say make sure it's something that you want to do, and then be okay possibly starting at the bottom because it says that you're overqualified. Now, the first step is understanding what the qualifications, needs, or as I like to say, the job description of that particular role is. And so when you understand that, then you can look at how your previous experience lines up with that. Okay. And so what you want to do is you want to craft your resume to show that you have the soft skills as well as some of the hard skills that show that you're capable of doing that. Now, if it's something that's, a job that requires only 10 years or 5 years or 2 years of experience, then at most I may put maybe 5 or so years on my resume that highlights the experience and experiments. I mean, it highlights the experience and qualifications specific for that job. So that's number one. That's getting yourself and your foot in the door. The second thing is you have to understand the organization and their culture. All right. So I've worked in a number of industries. I've worked in banking. I've worked in retail. I've worked in media, medical, like all different types of industries. Right. And so one thing is, like me personally, I like to dress up. I like to look nice, but I adjust that depending on the industry. Now, when I worked in banking, I could go in there with my bow ties, my nice shoes, those types of things. I could do that. Now, in certain other industries, a little bit laid back. So I may dress like you see me now. I'm in the turtleneck, maybe sports coat, button up, those type of things. But so you can still look nice and represent and perform in your style personality, but make sure it's in line with the culture, because the thing is, people want to know, one, are you capable of doing the job and excelling? And then the other question they're going to want to know is, will you fit in with that? Okay. So those are the two things. Cater your resume, make sure you look and understand and know the lingo of the culture. And then also make sure that you can go and communicate those types of things effectively. Now, if you have questions about that, well, that's where the Success Concierge comes in. I help individuals with that, whether it's someone who is just starting off in their career or someone who's in transition, because no matter what you do, you're going to have strengths, you're going to have weaknesses. And as an image consultant, personal and corporate, I teach you how to highlight those. And so you can put your best foot forward, because again, this is about you separating yourself and selling yourself. So even though you may be overqualified in certain areas, you may have a lot more soft skills that makes you more valuable. So that would be my high level tips on that. I mean, we can dig a little bit deeper. Again, reach out, book a session, and we can go forward with that. So I think I answered that. I'm ready for the next question to come up. Okay. So this is huge right here. Because I see this, because I've had experience in tech. I've had experience in other areas where it may not be customer facing. Okay. So question is, my job is not customer facing. I work in a casual environment. Is my style important? Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. So you want to make sure you're always putting your best foot forward. So in the previous question, I talked about matching your style, personality, and being able to perform at a high level. So style does not have to sacrifice comfort. Okay. I will give a personal story. I've seen places where I knew this gentleman. He was very talented at his work in IT, but he dressed like a slob. And so he, dressed sometimes like he rolled out of bed, shirt untucked, those type of things. Another gentleman, he came in slippers, because it was casual. All right. So what that shows is, yeah, when you're doing your other work, but they can't put you in front of others. When you dress nice and take care of your appearance, it shows a couple of things. One, you take what you're doing serious, and two, you pay attention to detail, and three, you're flexible. Okay. And so those are qualities that are important in those areas. And also, two, if everyone is dressing at a 2 and you dress at a 4, that's not 10, but it's only 4. But you've put yourself in position to differentiate yourself. Okay. And I always say, okay, understand your culture again, because if the CEO came in, would he want to stand next to you and take a picture proudly? Or would he walk past you and come and talk to me? And see, people like me, they would be the ones getting promotion. So in that same instance, it was a young lady, she dressed in jeans and shirts, but she didn't dress like she just rolled out of bed. And she was the one who got in some of the leadership roles. So yes, it does matter, paying attention to what you do, how you do. And also it shows leadership, because even when I've been in those particular places, people are like, oh, Eric, you make me want to do better. You make me want to step up. You make me want to do those types of things. Now, if someone is looking for someone to be in leadership or management, what are some of the qualities they look for? One, are you dependable? Do you pay attention to detail? And can you motivate and uplift others and get them to perform at a high level? Separation. So yes, it is definitely important. And again, that's why we have these types of sessions, because it is solely dependent on your industry, the work environment that you have, as well as what you want to do, both in the long term and the short term. And that's why I have these conversations one-on-one, so I can cater it to specifically you and your specific needs, and make sure that we tailor a strategy that's going to get you in position to achieve your desired outcomes. So to answer the question, does my style, my appearance, image, appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint, does it matter even though I'm not customer facing? Yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. So yeah, we can go ahead and go to the next question that we have lined up here. And yeah, if you have questions in the chat, go ahead and put those in there as well too. I'm here to help, here to answer those questions. Okay. So the next question, oh yeah, this is a good one right here. I have a business that sells goods and services. How do I get up the most out of my pop-up shops and vendor events? Okay. So for those who don't know, pop-up shops, that's like, you may have heard the term, you may or may not have heard it, But a pop-up shop is just, or pop-up event is essentially where people go to a location and set up and they sell their goods. So it's not necessarily a grocery store or a physical location. It could be an event. It could be at a conference. It could be surrounded by food trucks. So people just go there and they set up, their table, their booth, their goods and services, and they sell them. So those are pop-up shops or vendor events. I know a typo on that. Okay. And so how do you get the most out of that? So first thing first is your preparation ahead of time before you go into that. This is something that I do. Some of you may or may not know I have a CBD business, so I sell products as well. And then I'm also doing networking as well. So this is something that I look at and I do myself and I have experience in. So first and foremost, you want to pick out an event and know your audience. Okay. So you may have a diverse product line. And so some products will cater to certain audiences, some don't, whether they're older, younger, men, women, fashion conscious, not fashion conscious, even health conscious if you're someone that's selling food. So you want to first know who your audience is and make sure you cater what you bring so it resonates with those individuals. The second thing is you want to have your materials. So whether it's going to be your products, your marketing materials, which could be like brochures, samples, flyers, and signage, because you want to attract people there to your event and you want to get traffic in that particular location. Now, this is a rule that I like to use that helps me differentiate myself. It's best if possible, you have a partner, someone working with you so you can take turns. You take a break, they take a break, or what have you. But my personal philosophy is I do not like to be sitting at my booth when there's crowds potentially doing that. Okay. Because people see, oh, he or she is not really active. They're not really doing much. They're not doing something. So they're going to pass you by. Okay. And then if they walk by, they're going to do the walk by high and they're going to keep moving. All right. So I like to stand up where people can see me. And sometimes, if possible, depending on space, I like to stand kind of sort of in front of my booth so I can greet people, so I can pass out whatever I'm passing out, and that I can also engage with them as well. So when you think about when you go to the Sam's Club or you go to the mall and they're passing out samples, they don't just stand back in the back. They stand out from their counter and say, hey, you want some of this General Tso's chicken, or do you want some of this sweet and sour chicken? They stand out in front so that people can see you and interact with you. And you definitely want to do the same with that. So you want people to be able to interact, learn more about your business and what it is you're doing. Of course, smile. I say don't be on the phone when you're out there as well, too, because you want to be engaged with your customers. And of course, be knowledgeable about the product or service that you're offering. Be enthusiastic, show good energy and posture. I have a video on that talking about body language secrets, so definitely check that out. That'll give you some additional tips. And last but not least, you want to get contact information. You want to be able to, one, follow up with those individuals who may, or even if they didn't purchase something, they may have questions, because customers may not be customers today, but they may be future customers. But they need to know that they can get whatever you're offering from you, and you want them to get that and not from someone else. And also, too, you want to be able to follow up with them and let them know, okay, if you like this food or this service, I'm going to be over here on September 3rd for Labor Day. I'm going to be here for Halloween, whatever. You want them to know where they can find you the next time. And one thing I did leave out is you want to make sure you dress for your style, personality, and in a manner that's going to be promoting your business. So if you have T-shirts or whatnot for your business, I'll go ahead and rock those T-shirts so people know, hey, this is someone who's open for business. Now, if you're someone who does professional services, then you want to look the part, whether it's dressing up in a suit, because we know we have people who sell food, we have people who sell mortgages, financial services, all those types of things. You definitely want to look the part. So those are the tips I have when it comes to making sure you get the most out of your vendor opportunities or your pop-up shops. Good energy, good location, and of course, the fortune is in the follow-up. So make sure that you're doing that so that you can get back and engage with people and have fans and people can connect with you. All right. So that is my assessment on that. I know we are ready for the next question to come up online. And so while we're waiting on the next question, you can always join the panel, chime in, ask your questions. We can get that done. And also, too, I have an extensive library by which you can look and see certain content, and you can also fill in, and ask me questions. So I can either ask them live, or we can do that within a one-on-one session for you. Okay, all right. So this is a good one right here. I have a pitch competition up. How do I put myself in the best position to win? Okay, now, so I have experience in this as well too. We in the tech world, or in other spaces, they call them hackathon, the creative things right here, where essentially you are creating, or you have created a product or service, and you want people to either buy it, invest it, license it, or implement that change. And we do this all the time, whether it's a competition for work, whether it's a competition for a raffle project, all these types of things. So this is on how you're going to be put yourself in the best position to win. First and foremost, you need to know the parameters or the requirements. Even when you see gymnastic routines, they have required moves, right? Or requirement things or components that they have. And you're going to have that in the sports world. You're going to have that in the education world. And you're going to have that in the business world. So one, you want to make sure that you know and understand the requirements for that. All right. Number two, know your audience. I have content where it talks about, conquering your fear of public speaking. And one of the things is know your content. The other one is know your audience. So you have to know what's important to them, what resonates with them. And I'll give a perfect example. Let's just say you're doing a pitch competition for your company or organization. And a lot of it, they want to do things as, renewable, green energy, those types of things. So what should you be including in your project? You should be including how your project meets those requirements. If your company has a vision, or the organization that you're pitching to has a vision of giving back, giving charity, like those type of things, you want to make sure that you include that in your pitch and information that you have. That's the other thing. The other thing is always have a visual. So you want to have a visual that tells a good story. And last but not least, you want to have a call to action. So what is it that you want them to do? Do you want them to buy? Do you want them to be a partner with you? Do you want them to implement your project? Do you want them to vote you to be the winner? So know the desired outcome that you want, work backwards, include those elements. And then again, look the part, have good energy, visual presentations. I have content on that, but that's how you're going to differentiate yourself. Being prepared is going to help you do that as well too. So that's going to help you get an edge in that. And again, it's not just for pitch competitions. It could be your marketing and competing for customers. You have to put yourself in position to win in those areas. And that's what we do over here. So yeah, if you have something specific, I've helped people with this. I've won competitions. I've coached winners. I've helped individuals in this space. This is definitely something that I can help you with. That's what we do here with the Success Concierge. Okay. So yeah, now let's go on to the next question. We have another question ready to come up on screen. And again, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in on this Wednesday night. It's the end of the month, and we got to finish strong. And that's what we're going to do here. So this is a good question right here. I have a service-oriented business that sometimes requires me to be physically active. How do I do that and still command respect as a boss and not seem lazy? Okay. So there's a lot of service industries out there. From some, you could be working in a restaurant where sometimes you may have to bring food out, bring those things out, or you may be in other service industries. Now, this particular question here, I know it came from someone who was in the trucking industry. And this person also happens to be someone Black in the trucking industry. Okay. Now, this is not a racial thing or whatnot, but this is someone who is a minority in a space that's dominated by other people, other races, other cultures. And this particular individual is new to this space. Now, if anyone has started a business or run a business, sometimes, as you know, when you're getting started out, you're going to have to do some of the work. You may have to drive the truck. You may have to bust the tables. You may have to do all these types of things. But also, too, you're going to have to collect the money and do those types of things. So what I would say in these instances right here, from an appearance standpoint, you may have to do some things slightly to differentiate yourself from normal people, normal staff. So in this instance, let's just say everyone has who normally works, they have black t-shirts or black shirts, you may put on gray or some type of other color within your color scheme. That gives you a slight level of differentiation with that. Okay. And then how you even carry yourself. Let people know, hey, I'm helping with this, but I need this paperwork signed, these types of things. The other thing is going to be your image and appearance. So this particular gentleman I'm coaching, I would tell him like what type of, like, even down to the type of glasses and shoes that he would wear. All right. We've all seen individuals uh, on construction sites. You can always tell who the foreman is, or who I guess the boss or the person who signs a check, because they look and appear differently. All right. But also too, some of those service industries, people need to know that, okay, if there's an issue or a challenge, you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, roll up your sleeves, those type of things. And then your hard work, your effort, that is also going to be a reflection of the type of work that your organization does, and it's going to be contagious. So you want to have a combination of mixing of looking the part, being flexible, but also too doing some slight things to differentiate yourself, which would be how you speak, your appearance, which could be your shoes, your shirt, even the type of glasses that you wear, because that sends messages as well too. And then just being professional in how you carry yourself and present yourself, but also to always have good energy, good posture, a good handshake, which I talk about as well too. And that's going to help you get that you need when you're out there, as well as you respect not only of your clients, but also the people you serve. And so that is the answer to that question right there. And you being active, you doing that, that's going to make you seem productive as opposed to lazy. I'm not sure if we have any more questions. The call line is open, but we can see if we have any other questions that need answering. Okay. All right. Okay. This is a good question right here. All right. And I think it's going to be a challenge for a lot of individuals, because people taking care of themselves, they looking good, and they may look young. So this question here is: I have a young looking appearance, even though I'm much older. How do I get respect in the workplace? Okay. So let's talk about this. All right. So a lot of times individuals, they may have, younger looking features. It could be a size thing. It could be just they overall look young. So a couple of things that I would say. First, you definitely want to make sure that your image is on point and it matches that of someone who is in that particular age range and commands respect. Okay. Now, for the gentleman, there are certain things that command respect. All right. So when you're in the workplace wearing grays, brown, blues, which are classic, old school, timeless colors, that is something that's going to show maturity and that you know what you're doing. That shows a level of competence. Like even blues is a color that stimulates trust. Okay. So having that look right there is going to give you a leg up as well. Now, for ladies, okay, I would say, how you dress, same type of color schemes, but maybe pants, suits, grays, blues, how you wear your hair, your color, always be conservative colors. Now, you may have like a little highlight with the earring or bracelet or something like that, but the conservative colors, that's going to let people know that you come there to be serious, because again, you want the focus to be on what's up here, not what's going on with your appearance. And then the other thing, especially if you're someone who is slimmer or small, you have to take up space. Now, I'm not saying you just open your arms wide like this, but do things that allows you to stand up and take up space. So that means you stand up straight, you project, you look forward, you head up, you head out. Even when you're talking with your arms, you have them out in still in your personal area, but in range, but it allows you to take up space. All right. So what does taking up space do? It keeps people, one, from trying to attack you. And the other thing is it makes people look at you and pay attention. This person is projecting, they're taking up space. And you can do that if you 5'1" or if you 6'1". It doesn't matter. You can still be someone who takes up space and make sure that you project. Okay. The other thing that I recommend as well too is the speed at which you talk. So you may say, hey, I have a question. Or have we thought about this particular perspective? Based on what I'm seeing, this is some things that we should do to make this project work the way it should work, or this is my recommendation. So even with my voice, I'm taking up space because one, I'm projecting. I'm talking slowly, I'm pausing. It's making people listen and pay attention as well, as opposed to try to ramble and move on to the next point. Because a lot of times people just want to hear to move on, but you forcefully slow the pace down and make them listen, make them take time, make it permeate here. And that is other areas and ways that you can gain respect if you have a younger looking parents, or you could be younger in age. Those are two other things. And then, of course, do great work, do amazing work. We always have to say, we show our work, we produce, we go out here and represent. So that's what we do, to show that we have a level of skill, a level of confidence, good body language, good posture. Those are things as well too. So a couple tips to recap: one, you want to look the part; two, you want to take up space, whether that's physically or with your voice and your words; and three, you want to do amazing work. Those are the three tips that I have for you in that particular area. That's a really good question. I get that from, not even just young people, but sometimes ladies or people who have a smaller stature as well too, because in the physical world, sometimes it's easy to overlook those individuals. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're halfway past the hour of 7:30 on the Central Time. Thank everyone for tuning in. We're definitely ready for the next question. We do this office hours to help you, because I want to make sure that things that come up, whether it's things that come up that I see an issue, a challenge, or people talk to me, ask me these types of questions, or email their questions in, I want to make sure that I address them and help put yourself in position to win. And the call, I mean, the StreamYards is open. Feel free to come in, have some dialogue, interact. I'm open definitely to do that. We can talk about style, we can talk about image, we can talk about career, we can talk about business, whatever is on your mind this evening, or whatever area that you want to have some open dialogue, whether it's for assistance, whether it's for shooting ideas. That's what we're here for. Here to support you and your needs and what you have going on, so we can put you in position to achieve better outcomes. That's what we're here to do. All right. So you can put your questions in. You can jump on the panel. Um, whatever we need to do. Okay. Oh man, this is a funny question out here. Okay, so there are many fragrances out there in so many occasions. How many should I have, and when should I stop purchasing? Now, I must confess, I must confess, I must confess. I am someone who is addicted to fragrances. I love them, and it didn't always start like that, right? So I used to be someone like, no, I don't want to wear fragrances because it may offend people, or it may do this or that or whatnot. There's an art to it, which I've discovered, and fragrances, whether it's fragrances you put on your body or fragrances you have in your room, it's a game changer, a mood changer, and again, it's something that you can also communicate with as well. So, how many fragrances should you have? All right, I'm gonna give you the simple answer. Okay, realistically, you only need six. All right, and it could be less than that depending on the region of the country that you're in and what you need to do. All right. So the first four is simple. You want to have one for each of the seasons. All right. Now, why do you want to have one for each of the seasons? Summer, spring, winter, fall, or whatever order that you want to choose in. You want to have them because depending on where you live, the amount of rain that you get is going to change. The activities, whether indoor or outdoor, those are going to change. And there are some fragrances, we can talk about specifics, but there are some fragrances that are year round. So you could have one that's spring and summer, or you could have one that's, fall, winter, or what have you, or whatever combination. But you just want something that covers those four areas. Okay. The next one is your signature scent. This could be like, man, how do they know it's you? By that scent right there. So your signature scent. And then last but not least, date night. You want someone to be close to you. You want to set the mood. That's your date night fragrances. So realistically, you only need six. That's the max. You could have something that's versatile because there are certain scents that encompasses all six of them. Not a lot of fragrances do that, but there are some that do that. All right. But at minimum, or the maximum could be six. Some are outside, some are at the beach. So I may have fragrances for various areas of that. Okay. And same for the other ones. But you realistically only need six, multiple date night ones. And again, depending on you, your style, personality, your age, we can definitely have a conversation and recommend that. I have video content about some of my fragrance reviews, and I give the individual who can wear it, the occasion they can wear it, and then how it's going to perform and how it's going to project. So I do those in my content as well too. But if you have specific questions, definitely you can reach out to me as well. Now, this is just an extra bonus tip. Most individuals, they live in an area where there's a Sephora or other place that let you go and sample fragrances. Just forming relationships with people out there, they'll let you sample in the store and as well as sometimes take samples. And that comes from just being personable and talking to people. But short answer is you realistically only need six fragrances, one for each of the four seasons, depending on where you live, a signature scent, and a date night scent as well. So those are the ones, and realistically, you could stop right there. But it can be one of those things where you like to have more than one. And so once you've covered those bases, then you can decide if you want to have more or less. I mean, I have a decent collection, but I've seen and known people who have over 500, seen people who have over 1,000. So uh, do this at your own risk. I will not be held liable if you become a fragrance addict from there. All right. So once again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Office Hours. I really enjoy these types of sessions because it's just about you. It's not about me. It's about you. Just putting you in position to win and achieve your desired outcomes. Okay. So let's see if we got any more questions for that, or if someone wants to chime in or call in. Okay. I'm in a field that requires me to interact with decision making in a boardroom setting. How do I make the most impact? Okay. This is a great and very, very powerful question. And this is like a technique that I use and what people use as well too. All right. So typically if you're in a boardroom, you're going to have various individuals in the room. Okay. And you need to identify these individuals. All right. First and foremost, if you're not by yourself, you're going to have people who are, I say, your confidants, your people who are going to support you. All right. Then you're going to have the decision makers. But then the other thing you're going to have is the negative people or the gatekeepers, and then the people who are just blockers, right? So you have to identify who these individuals are. All right. Now, let's just say I know that John or Jill is the decision maker. Where do you think I'm going to sit? I'm going to sit right by them because I want my voice to be the closest to them. I'm going to strategically position myself so that I can be close to those individuals. So you want to identify those individuals, especially if it's your me. You say, hey, John, you sit right here. Sally, you sit right here. So you want to keep them close. All right. Now, if you got somebody negative, where you want them? You want them as far away as possible from the decision maker because you don't want them to be close enough to influence those types of individuals because they may influence them in a negative manner. And then also, too, you want to surround yourself with your support people. So that's how you position the individuals in the room. All right. Then the other thing is, how do you do when you're introducing, when you're making a presentation? I don't care if everyone is sitting at their desk with laptops and we're looking at the screen. If I'm presenting again, I'm standing. And the reason being is because I want to differentiate myself. I want to, again, we talked about taking up space. I want to take up space and I want the focus to be on me. Now, just imagine like when you was in school, what was the teacher doing? When they were teaching, when they were educating, they were standing, all right? And sometimes you may walk around and engage with the individuals in the boardroom. That's how it's done. But another key technique that I say is like you may talk, move around, and do that. But when you are ready for your call to action, you go back to the front. All right. So those are the other tips. And then again, we talked about earlier about your image, how you dress, how you speak, how you present. All those things are important, but we have to understand and know the type of culture that you're going to be working in. But understanding those different types of techniques and tips, that's going to be helpful. And then also remember, we talked about how men and women communicate. Men like to be straight here. Women like to be straight here. Men like to be at angles. So always keep that in mind and constantly read the room, know the audience. Know is someone sitting with their arms crossed. Know is someone tapping on their head or doing like this right here. All those things have meaning. So you need to identify and be able to read the people in the room so that you can perform at a high level. So they get like a lot of times people take some of these things for granted or don't pay attention. Like the little minor details matter, like the 2 millimeters. Like little bit like this can make a huge difference, right? If your plane is off by this much, instead of ending in Miami, you'll end up in New York. So same is true when you're in these particular situations. You want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and putting yourself in position to win. And also to understand the boardroom, if it's like a serious boardroom, not one that has more politically correct, it may be a little bit cutthroat. So you have to be prepared to stand your ground. It's definitely not for the weak. You got to be ready. It's gonna be a challenge. So be ready for that. And again, I always say prep and then let it go, because sometimes you got to get amped up to go in there. But then once you're done, you got to take a step back. So it's just like you come from that runner's high, that boxer's high, that sports high. You got to come back down so you're ready. All right. So again, that's going to help you separate and differentiate yourself in those boardroom settings. I know like people, they want to be bosses. So you want to be a boss, you got to do boss things. And that's what you got to be ready for. All right. So I don't know if we have any more questions coming up here. Um, what things can make my appearance stand out? Okay. All right. So I've done a video and done content that talks about what can make your appearance stand out or how to get some pop to your appearance. So I will cover a couple of those things here. Okay. So when people think about appearance or style, they think of, hey, I got to be in the latest trends. I got to be in the latest fashions. That is not necessarily true. You want to make sure that certain things, everything fits your style, personality, so it doesn't look like a uniform. And what I mean by that is, let's just say you work in the medical field, and then one day you show up in the fireman's outfit. Now they may think, okay, such and such is doing that for Halloween, but they keep doing it. They're gonna be like they lost their mind. Why? Nothing wrong with a fireman's uniform for a fireman, but not appropriate in the medical field. So the same is true when you're dressing and understanding your style, personality. So what are some things that can make your appearance stand out? Okay, footwear. Like that's something easy that you can make your appearance stand out. And how can you do that? You can change the style up of your shoes, and not you can keep it. You may even just change up the material. Let's just say you have on suede. You may want to go to a shinier leather. You may have gray. You might want to go to a brown or blue or whatnot. So just subtle changes in your footwear that can make you stand out. Also for the ladies, you may change the color. You may go from closed toe to open toe. You may show more of the ankles. You may go from a 55 millimeter to an 85 millimeter, or go from a thinner heel to a thicker heel. So all these different types of things, that's going to affect, your the way you stand, the way you look, and what some of the first things people see from a distance as well too. Because people, both men and women, they check your shoes out. In the business world, guys will check out other guys' shoes, be like, okay, his shoes is beat up, beat down. He don't take care of things. All right. Well, his shoes is clean, they nice, they fit. Okay, he's someone who's stable, who pays attention. Same is true with the lady. She got shoes. She got three toes showing, but only five of the three of the five is painted. They don't know that. Okay, or you wobbling on those shoes. So People pay attention to that. And notice not once did I mention brand or anything like that. You just want to have quality, clean shoes that are well maintained and fit well. Okay. So the next thing is making sure your clothes fit. Sometimes we go up or go down in weight. That's just the natural course of life. So making sure you get the minor adjustments to make sure your clothes fit well, and also to accentuate certain features. You may have someone who has nice shoulders. They want to show them the legs, arms, what have you, or they may want to hide certain areas in their midsection. So wear clothes that fit and then are flattering to your figure and to your best attributes. That's also important. The other thing, frames. I wish I had my Oyo box here. I got quite a few different frames, but glasses tell a message depending on what you're trying to do, what type of environment. So you definitely can do that. And of course, your fragrance. Spray on some opportunity. Those are some things that's going to make your appearance stand out, because all those are part of that and different things. And then you may make sure like you change different colors as well too, colors that's flattering to you as well. All right, so those are some things that can make your appearance stand out. And then again, body language as well, just taking up space, your energy, your posture. People notice that, because we've all had people that come in the room and man, the energy goes up. And we've also had people that come in the room and the energy is sucked out. So so you want to make sure that your appearance is standing out in a positive way and not a negative way. So those tips that I just gave you, those are things that's going to make your appearance stand out in a positive way. All right. So the call line is open if anyone wants to call up here. I don't know if we have any more questions. We've been going strong for quite a bit. I'm from the South, not a Southern preacher, so I've never been one to really be long-winded. I like to give you what you need, get to the point, and get on to enjoying the rest of the day and time. So I don't know. Let me see if we have any more questions. Okay. All right. Good. This is a good question right here. What are some tips to help me create a successful business plan? This right here, I see this all the time. This is a challenge for a lot of individuals, because when it comes to a business plan, they want to talk about just the good. And yeah, you want to talk about the good, but a business plan does not consist of all good. It consists of like all the challenges, all the good, bad. Because what happens is, if someone is going to purchase from your business, understand their business, they want to understand, okay, yeah, this is the positive side, but what's the warranty like? Or what's the follow-up like? Or what happens if there's bad weather, right? So they want to know those aspects as well too. So a couple of things I would say when coming up with a business plan. One, identify the business that you want and what problem you want to solve, or what type of experience that you want to give to the individuals. And then there's this business technique. It's not something I created, but it's an oldie, but it's a goodie. It's called a SWOT analysis. So that's SWOTT. All right. SWOT. All right. So we're going to go through the letters of that. So S is strength. So what are the strengths that make you or your business or your current business structure? What are the strengths that separate? Because we talked about differentiation and separating yourself. What are some things that separate you from the market, from other individuals doing what you're doing? All right. Even if you're a new business, there are certain things that you may carry over, like from soft skills to other things, or you're in a new industry. What are your strengths? All right. Now, the opposite of that is W, which is weaknesses. What are some things that you don't do well? All right. And it's important to identify this, because one, you can identify some things that you don't do well, but one thing is you can mitigate risk, or say, okay, I'm weak in this area, but this is my plan to fix it. Or I'm weak in this area and I have someone else, or I have a partner who's strong in this area, or alignment, right? So you want to identify the weakness. Okay. Then, opportunity. What is the opportunity like? So it goes back to the problem that you want to solve, or the experience that you want to provide. What is the opportunity out there that you're looking to catch the wave of, ride the momentum of, take advantage of? All right. So the O is opportunity. Now the T, sometimes they call it double T. We'll talk about the first one. The first T is threats. So what are some of the threats that could derail you? Okay. So let's just say, for example, in this particular space. It could be a threat, could be supply chain, it could be federal regulations in the banking industry, it could be, maybe another pandemic. Who knows? Those are different things that could be threats to your business, or it could be, once I do this, the floodgates come open and other people want to come into this business, okay, or into this particular space. So, what are the threats there? And the last but not least is the trends. So, what are we seeing from a buying habits, from a customer habit, like trend? Like, is this a business that's trending up or is it trending down? What are you seeing in the ways people shop, purchase, those types of things? So those would be trends. So when you identify those areas, and again, this is something that I work with people on, you can create a business plan that identifies your strength, identifies your weaknesses, and puts you in position to do that, identifies the problem you want to solve or the experience you want to give. What are potential roadblocks or risks, and how do you mitigate those risks? And what are some things that you're most looking forward to on the trend line? So those are things that will help you. Okay, I see young investor. Salute to you, young investor. Always good to see you. How would one go about finding out their style, personality? Well, that's what someone like myself or other image consultants do. We talk to you about that, and part of it is just asking questions about you and what your lifestyle is like. So, okay, if you're like someone who is very, very active, right? Okay, I'll use some people I know. All right, so I have someone I know, and it's fascinating. He's someone who is semi-retired. He doesn't like to dress up. He just throws on whatever, right? He's what we call comfortable. So he has more of a Americana type of style personality. So if I'm working with him, I would never put him in suits. I would put him in shorts, casual buttons up, maybe even some of those pattern shirts, and of course loafers. Loafers is going to be his best friend. Okay, and to add a little bit of extra style to someone like that, I may give them like either fedora or bowler hats, those not bowler hats, but fedora and different types of hats to help with that. So your style personality, it may like when you're growing up, because you mentioned the name young investor, your style personality, I'm gonna go on a limb and say you're under 30, right? Your style personality may change. Like so this is why I say. So you have some individuals like when you're young, you may wear the Jordans, you may wear the jerseys, you may want to wear those type of things because you're living a fun, carefree lifestyle, and those are great. But your career and your profession may change, so your style personality may change as well too. So you want to identify what's important to you, what is the message that you want to send with your outfits and whatnot, and that's going to help you identify your style personality. Okay, I know we chatted last week about glasses for you. Or not last week. Last time we talked about glasses for you, young investor. Okay, and so all of that is dependent upon your lifestyle. So we were talking about doing black rim because one, you're in a more of a corporate. So your style personality is more corporate, borderline preppy as well too. So the corporate is in your professional time, and then the preppy is in your fun time, because I think you mentioned you're a pilot and you do some other things as well too. So that we would talk and shop and buy things based on those, making sure you send those messages out. All right, first gen corporate, salute to you. Good to see you this evening as well too. So hopefully that answers your question about style personality. It's just like when you're working with someone, they ask these types of questions of you, and what your lifestyle is like, what some of your goals, your mission, like where are some places that you go, and what are some things that you're already doing for that. Because a lot of times, like just from a style personality, sometimes people say, "Oh, I like Stringer Bell, and he's a bad boy," but that may not be your style personality. And you may say, "Well, I like how Carlton on Fresh Prince, bro. So he's more preppy, corporate. I like that, right?" Or we see like Powell, we see James St. Patrick. He has a boss style personality, right? Whereas Tommy, his partner, is more urban. He's not even urban. He's more corporate, street type of personality as well too. more rugged a look in him. So they do they have two different style personalities that they have, but it works for them as well too. So hopefully I asked that question. And so yeah, we're wrapping up office hours, but one thing we stay till it's done. And so if there are any other questions, you can jump on the panel. We can go ahead and put the link in there for that for individuals if you do want to call in. I'm willing to make it work till we get everything done. Um, all right. How do you go about how do you best go about adding color in one wardrobe? Okay. So I think the question is, how do you go about adding color in one's wardrobe? Okay. So a couple of things. First, the way I would suggest doing this is one, understanding colors that you already have and what's important to you, as well as colors that fit the mission that you're trying to send. Okay, so I'll give a perfect example. I know a young lady. She's in a business where she's customer facing, and she likes to wear black all of the time. And I'm like, man, you can't be wearing black all the time because you the insurance person. And hopefully she don't mind me telling the story, or she may be tuning in. But she wears black all the time, so I'm like, okay, what are some things you can do to add color, right? So she likes to wear black, like black. Right? I like you don't come around here looking like the Grim Reaper. So adding some color, I like, okay, if you're gonna wear black, what you can do is maybe wear a cardigan or some over the shawl. That changes it up. Even adding some to the necklace there. If you're going to wear black, maybe wear lighter stockings or lighter shoes, so it doesn't look like you're all in one space. Now, for a gentleman, add some color to your wardrobe. You can do that by layering, right? So I have on this goldish brown gold turtleneck, right? So if I want to add a color, I may throw on a blue, a blazer or a sport coat over the top of that, right? So now I have layers. I have a blue layer and then this gold layer, right? Because this is your canvas, and then you could change up the shoes. I could go with a brown shoe. I could go with the gray shoe. Um, even a black shoe. So I like to do it in little bits and pieces, and I like to layer, and that helps. So a layer could be a top layer or a bottom layer. Even going with accessories like this is a black and gold watch. This is a silver bracelet. Those are some things to add color. And so as you introduce those things, and then if you're someone, because I see your profile has a suit on, you can play with the tie. You can play with the pocket square. Like let's just say you got that blue suit right there. All right. So you could go with a white shirt and a red tie, or you could even go with pinstripes and a solid tie. All right. I'm just looking at that particular photo right there. You could do a black shirt and a different color tie. You can add pocket square. You can add patterns to your shirt. All those types of things add color to your wardrobe, and these are things that are cost effective. Like a tie, you can get that for not that big of a price. Shirts, you can change those up. So now, kind of like the Steve Harvey example where he talks about the 5 suits, you can do that, add and experiment colors as well too. But it's also, you got to look at your skin tone, like what's your warm colors, your cool colors, those type of things. But that's how I would do it. I would start off with minor pieces and then just experiment. Experiment with this ties, experiment with this shirt, experiment with this pocket square. Because here's the thing, right? The rules still apply. Okay. When I say, like, what do you ask yourself before you buy an outfit, it still applies when you're adding color. Okay. So rule number one is where you're going to wear it to. All right. So if I want to wear, and I have like pink shirts. I have some, like you'll see me in. I have some other color shirts. So the question is, where am I going to wear it to? All right. The next question is, what is the message that I want to send? Okay. So if I'm not going to dress up in the clown uniform, but like that, like what is the message that you want to send by incorporating that color? Third thing, not as important, is the value proposition. Like, are you going to wear this one time? You're going to wear this multiple times? as well too. So you can play with color pieces and also patterns. So a couple patterns. I love houndstooth because that gives you a mixture of colors and it makes the eye look at different areas. Gingham is another thing that adds some color because it can be subtle. So I don't know if you want to just hit them in the mouth with it or you want to do something subtle. So gingham, pinstripes, houndstooth, check shirts, those types of things are things that add color. So you can do that with the actual color or the actual pattern as well too, because when you do that, it just you want the eye to be drawn to different areas. I mean, I'm not a big guy, but if I had some swole biceps, like some of y'all may know Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, I might put stripes across here to change the color, but also draw attention to that area as well too. If I was taller, like Chris Bosh, he's got a long neck, so I may do turtlenecks, or I may do a shirt with the vest and then turtleneck underneath it. So I have layers that accentuates the different features that I may have. So first, Jan, hopefully that answers your question on that. Thank you for that. I always like to be assistance to individuals. But let us know if we have any more questions because I know we are already at the top of the hour. And if anyone wants to jump on the panel, feel free to do so because I like this to be live as well as interactive because, here to make sure people put themselves in position to win. All right, let's see here. So if that is that, I want to thank everyone. Let's see, do we have any more questions? Okay, we have no more questions. Let's see here. Okay, well, thank you, First Gen, and I thank everyone for tuning in. I definitely, like I said, I cater this to you all. Make sure one, I'm answering the questions that you have, providing value, and assisting in any way I could. Like tune into my channel. Like we're gonna do this consistently because I want to make sure that one, I'm giving people opportunities to have their voice heard and get their questions answered and getting themselves in position to win. But I thank y'all again. Salute to everyone who came in. I'm iamerichall, your success concierge, providing you the vision, tools, and opportunity for your desired success. And we out. Good night.